Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. We're talking about the WWE Crown Jewel pay-per-view coming up in a few days. It's going to be on Thursday, on Halloween. I think it's a pretty early start here on the West Coast because it's coming to you live on the WWE Network from Saudi Arabia. On this show, they're housing a WWE Universal Championship match. This is going to be Seth Rollins against The Fiend. This is a rematch from WWE's Hell in the Cell 2019. The Hell in the Cell match ended up with a no contest, where basically, to everybody who watched the show, it looked like Seth Rollins got disqualified, but the referee just got to a point where Seth beat on The Fiend enough, and The Fiend wasn't really showing any sign of losing, but at the same time, he wasn't really showing any sign of coming back and putting any offense in. It was like the referee just got tired. It was like a stoppage in UFC, I guess you can say. If the world would have saw it that way that night, probably it would have been a lot better of a finish for Hell in the Cell. But since we've never had a disqualification finish or a no contest finish in a Hell in the Cell, and it's always been booked as, whatever goes inside of the cell. I mean, last year, basically Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy turned into a TLC match, I guess, and that's not the only match that they've ever used. I mean, just earlier in that night, Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch had a ladder, had chairs, kendo sticks, and everything else, but all of a sudden, somebody uses a wrench or a toolbox and hit somebody in the face, and that's going too far. So they're going to have the makeup here, Falls Count Anywhere match. The way I look at it here, I don't think we've ever had a championship change hands on a Saudi Arabia show. Buddy Murphy won the Cruiserweight Championship on the Australia show when he challenged for the 205 live Cruiserweight title on the Australian show. He was the hometown boy. It was time for him to take over, and that's what they did. He went there and he won. So you can't say that these shows have never had title changes, but everybody in the world basically thought that Roman Reigns was going to beat Brock Lesnar. Everybody thought that Braun Strowman would beat Brock Lesnar. So we've had shows where we thought title change were going to happen. We thought Nakamura would beat AJ. We thought that to make this first show from Saudi Arabia a big deal, there would be title changes to make it like a freaking WrestleMania, because they were paying for a freaking WrestleMania. Instead, we get big names filling out the card, and we just get basically house show matches that we can see when we go see WWE live. Just happens to be that you can see the show with tons of pyro and lots of production on television, which is pretty cool for some people. Mainly, these shows I've only watched the main events of, and kind of been happy that that's all I really needed to watch. I think that the Rollins versus Bray Wyatt match is going to be a must-see match for the pay-per-view. I think that people are going to set time aside to make sure that they see this one. But when it comes down to it, you look at it this way. Seth Rollins is on Raw. Bray Wyatt is on SmackDown. SmackDown has the WWE champion in Brock Lesnar, which you can debate which championship really is the number one title. For the last few years, since at least 2016, the Universal title has been the number one title in the company. What title is the number one title in the company? Whatever one Vince McMahon cares about at that moment. It's been a while since the WWE Championship has been that, but then again, Brock Lesnar has that title. How much is Brock going to be on SmackDown? Does SmackDown need another World Championship with Bray Wyatt bringing the title over to SmackDown? And then at that point, does the Universal Championship become like a hot potato between Raw and SmackDown, trying to see that, Fox wants to have Brock as one of the main guys. Fox also wants to have a championship so the show means something. So if both titles are on SmackDown, what does that mean for Raw? Do they just come up with another championship, a lot like, during the draft when it looked like Teddy Long was going to, I'm sorry, I didn't say what year it was, but when Teddy Long said that he was creating a new championship for SmackDown, they had a fatal four-way. JBL won it, and it looked like they were going to crown him the champion, but right at the last moment, they announced Batista was the draft pick for SmackDown, moving over with his World Heavyweight Championship, and we never got to see the championship that was in the bag, and JBL was never presented with it, even though he won the match that most people presumed was going to make him the next world champion for SmackDown. So, in my opinion, the easiest way to look at this, I think Rollins is going to win this match. And for Rollins to win this match, it looks like another push for Bray Wyatt that's going to end much like WrestleMania's 30 loss to John Cena. Much like his World Heavyweight Championship win that he lost to Randy Orton after 1 month. Every single time that we think something's going to get going for Bray Wyatt and we love what we see, they say, nah, that's not what we want to do. So, as of right now, Rollins has burned down the fun house. It looks like Rollins is going to beat Bray at Crown Jewel. So, where do we go from here? I mean, Bray Wyatt jumping over to SmackDown, does he just build a new house and just start over from scratch? Who does he go after on the SmackDown brand? Or does he really just become a guy that, people said was just going to be here and there along the way? He's not going to be there all the time because they don't want to burn him out. When there is a good idea, we'll bring Bray Wyatt out. And when there's not, maybe he'll just work house shows. I don't know what's going on, but I'm taking Rollins to get the win at Crown Jewel. Falls count anywhere. And what's the other? The match can't be stopped for any reason.